Welcome to Frickin' History, and today we're going to be talking about the Mexican-American War. So get your APUSH shoes on and let's get it done. Now remember, when we're talking about manifest destiny and the idea that Texas was leading to their independence that happened in 1836, and they were getting away from Mexico, and Mexico was not really too happy about it. But right around the time of the election of 1844, in which James K. Polk was elected, that led to a whole different stance because he ran on the idea of annexing Texas and bringing it into the Union. So John Tyler, who was president at the time, right at the end of his term, decided to get the ball rolling on the annexation for Texas, and then Polk ended up and took it over to bring Texas in as the next state into the nation. So Polk sent John Slidell down to talk to the Mexicans about trying to get land from the Mexicans and being able to buy it from them. Now, the response I'm not really good at my Spanish, but it was something kind of on the terms of like, no way, Jose. But that was not going to deter Polk. He was determined to bring Texas in. So the next piece that was up for debate was, where is the border between the United States and Mexico? There were a lot of Americans that were living closer to the Rio Grande, and that's not where the Mexicans believed that border was. They thought it was more towards the Nueces River, and so there's a chunk of land that would be around Laredo in that area of Texas today that was under dispute. So Polk, of course, did the thing anybody would normally do, and they sent the military down there to take care of it. Zachary Taylor went down in those disputed areas, and then 13 Americans died. Sounds like enough to declare war. So in May 1846, Congress gave that declaration of war, and it was on like Donkey Kong. So those are the causes that got us into the Mexican-American War. And now you need to know, what are those effects that came out of it? Here's the thing. The Americans wanted land, and they got a bunch of it. What you need to know in this is the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, and what are the pieces that are involved with that gave a ton of land to the United States. First thing is, it made the Rio Grande the southern border of Texas, so Americans took in all of that land. The big piece is called the Mexican Cession, and that is where you have lands from New Mexico and California territories that were involved and sucked in and taken in by the United States. It cost them the cool $15 million. Then in 1853, there was a Gadsden purchase of some land that was in what would be southern Arizona. And by the time you get to 1853, Mexico has lost about half of its land. Now, while the war was going on, you had the Wilmot Proviso that was being presented in a bill in Congress. Now, this bill that was presented was really, really important, even though it didn't pass. Basically, it was a foregone conclusion by Congress. They figured we are going to win the Mexican-American War and take on a lot of land. So David Wilmot, what he decided was, let's put in a provision that says any lands that are taken from the Mexican-American War are to be free, and there's to be no slavery in those new territories. Now, this set fire to the debate that was going to continue through the 1840s and well into the 1850s that we'll talk about leading up to the Civil War. Congress did vote it down, but the idea was that they were looking at it as the soil that they were gaining and the land that they were gaining. It gained a lot of traction for people that felt that should be free, and hence you'll hear the term free soil. And so you want to make a note of that moving forward. So those are the causes and effects of the Mexican-American War. Those are the pieces that you need to know. And until next time, peace.